Welcome to this informative session on FOB contracts. My name is Abdul Murshid Kunnumal Perel and my student ID is 2306786. Today I will guide you through the key aspects of FOB contracts, including their definition, the responsibilities of both buyers and sellers, and the legal remedies available in case of a breach. First is, what is an FOB contract? FOB stands for free on board. This term is widely used in international shipping transactions. In an FOB contract, the seller's responsibilities end once they deliver and load the goods into the buyer's nominated vessel at the specified port. After this point, the risk and the ownership of the goods only transferred to the buyer. For example, if a seller in the UK agrees to an FOB contract with a buyer in India, once the goods are loaded into the ship at the port of London, the buyer bears all the risk, including the loss or any damages during the transit. And the sellers also have the several duties under an FOB contract. The seller's duties under an FOB contract is to the first responsibility is to delivery of the goods. The seller must deliver the goods that match the contract description to the agreed port. And there is also a case example, and Harlow and Jones Limited versus Panex International Limited. It is the case of 1967 that the seller must notify the buyer of shipment readiness. The second responsibility is to loading the goods. The seller must safely load the goods into the vessel and provide necessary documents like bill of lading. There is also a case example, Pioneer Company Limited versus Sky India Navigation Company Limited. This is the case of 1954. It clarifies the seller's duty to load the goods. And the third responsibility is to covering cost. The seller bears all the cost until the goods are loaded. And the fourth responsibility is to notify the buyer. The seller must inform the buyer when goods are shipped into enable insurance arrangements. As per Section 32, Clause 3 of the Sale of Goods Act 1979, if no notification is given, the seller bears the risk during transit. And the buyers also have several duties in the FOB contracts. The buyer's responsibilities includes, the first responsibility is to nominate the vessel. The buyer must arrange and notify the seller about the shipping vessel in a timely manner. And there is also a case example, Bunch Corporation versus Tradax Export Limited. It's the case of 1981. Is to failure to provide timely notice can lead to contract termination. The second duty to pay for the goods. The payment usually occurs when the goods are loaded into the vessel. And the third responsibility is to take delivery. Once goods are loaded, the buyer assumes responsibility for the shipment. And the transfer of risk and property. Understanding when risk and ownership transfer is crucial. The risk transfer. The risk passes to the buyer when the goods are loaded into the vessel. There is also a case example, Stock versus English. In the case of, it is the case of 1884. Even if goods are damaged after loading, the risk remains with the buyer. And the property transfer. Property generally transfers with risk unless the seller retains the bill of lading. And the legal basis of this is a section 17 of the Sale of Goods Act 1979. The property transfer depends on the parties' intentions. There is also a remedies for the breach. In the sellers, remedies includes the sellers can sue for price if the seller fails to pay after the property passes. According to section 49 of the Sale of Goods Act 1979, you can do that. And the second, damage for non-acceptance. The seller can claim the difference between the contract price and market value. According to section 50 of the Sale of Goods Act 1979. Other remedies to the seller is to lien on goods. He can retain the possession until the payment. It refers in the section 41 of the Sale of Goods Act. And stoppage in transit. Stop goods if a buyer is insolvent. He can stop that goods as per section 44 of the Sale of Goods Act. And he also have resell the goods. He can resell the goods if the buyer defaults. There is also the different kinds of buyer's remedies, and the buyer can reject the goods if they don't match the contract description or any defective things. And the section 13 and the section 14 of the Sale of Goods Act 97 and in 1979 is refers to that. You can claim the damage for the non-delivery on the defective goods, and this, according to section 53 of the Sale of Goods Act. In summary, FOB contracts are crucial part of international trade with clear responsibilities for both buyers and sellers. Understanding these duties and remedies available can help prevent disputes and ensure smooth functioning and transactions. Thank you.